Multi-exclusive dimensional being card with another exclusive. This video is going to be about soul ties. What is soul ties? What is the soul? The soul is your inner world, things that we cannot see, but only we can represent with it and basically have emotional ties with it when you represent and push it out. Feel me? And soul is basically second. Your spirit came first, which is your frequency, which is the spirit, which is your space. Now, basically, what came second was basically a piece of your spirit becoming your soul, which basically become the experience, which is the feelings and emotions, which is the inner world, which is your rainbow waters, which is basically what came second, which is time, lineage. And basically, right after that, we're going to get right back into this physical, which is structure, status, stability. Feel me? Which is the physical, which is the masculine. Feel me? And the soul is the feminine. We all got feminine, whether you a man or a woman. I don't care about what kind of perspective you say. We all got feelings and emotions, basically, and we all got attachments. Basically, this is our inner world. Because when you go inside, this is what you experience. Feel me? So basically, let's get into this video. What is ties? Basically, ties is a bondage. Soul ties is a bondage. When you basically have two energies coming together to create another energy. And you got to look at it like this. These energies can be good. These energies can be bad. But these are perspectives that we're receiving. And basically, we are all spirits and bodies having a human experience. So basically, you can have many circumstances and situations that play out with soul ties, from the lowest magnitude to the highest magnitude. And basically, when you're dealing with these circumstances and situations, you got to question everything. Because remember, we all get lost into our desires. We all get lost into our deeply rooted feelings and emotions. And basically, these things become burdens, responsibilities. And basically, when you start to do that, and one person don't basically resonate with your ship, and you don't start basically creating circumstances and situations to basically have balance and stability, which how you relate, which is we dealing with that seventh house, which is that cardinal balance, feel me, that Libra energy. If you're not relating to the person you with, I mean, we all relate with people, places, and things, but when it becomes a bondage, when it becomes a burden, and we put ourselves in circumstances and situations that becomes hardened, these are the these are the shapes and forms we experience, and basically these become burdens, and we don't want to have no burdens in our spirit, because when you add weight on your spirit, that brings density, that brings destruction, that brings catastrophic events, moments. And for me, we can base this and tie this with so many things, because you know it goes real deep though, to the point you could be an ant, and another person could be a spider, and basically y'all always clash. Y'all always come together. Y'all always clash. Now, depending on the reality, the spider killed the ant, so now the ant becomes a bigger shape and form and grows. Feel me? Now it's basically somewhat similar to the spider level. Now basically y'all can come hand in hand in the same life path, or it could be another different life path depending on how deeply rooted that spider becomes. And when that spider dies or transforms, and basically if it wasn't like pretty much killed by another bigger vessel, the ant is already in another world. So now the spider is becoming to go into this world. And depending on how many attachments and how many karmic feelings and emotions attached from that ant put on to that spider, because you know these are just spirits and bodies, and they're basically on the verge of developing. Because we all was spiders, ants, and gorillas and everything in our past lives. We all took many shapes and forms to become this. For me, you got to start. We all came from above as below as within as without. So basically, we already started from the top. Instead, we lost our wings and came down here. The spirit stays up there. The spirit always going to basically be the first to get to circumstances and situations. That's why basically you always go with the first thought, because that's your spirit. What comes after that is basically the feelings and emotion. What comes after that is energy, and of course that's all other things added down to density. So basically, the ant is in this world and the spider is in this world. So basically, when they basically collide, the ant could be a mother, a father to that spider, and it plays out on a deep level too. Because you can have soul ties with your mothers, y'all may not resonate. Feel me? You can have soul ties with your father, y'all may not resonate. May have soul ties with your brothers and your sisters. Y'all don't get along. Y'all always fighting. Y'all always, because you got to look at it like this. You just a spirit in the body having a human being experience. For me, and your physical family and your spiritual family are two different things. For me, because basically once we came down to density, we all got splattered. You may have like your spiritual family. You're like, for instance, you live in Brooklyn. Your spiritual family, you might have spiritual family somewhere in another country, on another continent, another state, another borough. For me, that's how, because we all split it up. For me, that's why like once you deeply rooted into something, you resonated with it more versus when you're not deeply rooted into it, you don't resonate it. So that goes to show when people, places, and things are interacting, and when you having conversations, these two can see eye to eye versus somebody else that don't see eye to eye, and it plays out on the highest spectrum too. So you got to look at it like this. Soul ties is basically youth sharing the possibilities of having shared experience with other spirits and other beings in your past life. Because you know the physical don't really matter. This shape and form don't really matter. For me, it's about what the inner world matters with. For me, because you can be out of this body, right? And of course, when you do dream, you remember what happened yesterday. You remember what happened the day before yesterday. You remember what happened throughout the circumstance situation. That goes to show you don't really need this physical body to resonate or relate to things. And that's how ghosts are created in this world. For me, they pick a shape and form. They resonate with it, and sometimes they don't resonate with it. So that goes to show our spirit, our soul, our spaceship is always traveling, and we always picking up experiences and circumstances, situations that we basically cater to. So this plays out on the broadest, on the highest to the lowest. So for me, it don't stop. So even either when you look at it like this, for me, like you can resonate with a stranger or somebody that you've seen in the street. They look familiar. This is a possibility of you sharing experiences with that person, whether it was in your previous life or lives beyond. Feel me? So that goes to show it's not really about the body you in. It's not about the flesh. It's not about the race. It's not about none of that shit. For me, you could be many of colors. You could be many mixtures of colors, many mixtures of races. They only have a few things to basically put people, places, and things into one category, but it's not about the flesh. For me, it's about that's about the inner world. For me, that's basically what it's mainly about. And your inner world always first. For me, once you get lost into this physical world, you basically become into density, and you add so much emotional baggage and emotional responsibility that you have expectations for this person to basically carry out that, and it don't always play out into that spectrum. So this is basically, soul ties is basically having attachments and being physically deeply rooted, having attachments to people, places, and things. It could be a person, whether you attach to a person, or a place, whether you attach to a home, you don't want to go outside, or a thing, whether you attach to a car, an object, anything like that. This can basically become transformative, or basically it can put you in categories and circumstances and situations to basically have you in catastrophic events. So that's the whole purpose of not getting lost into the physical, because once you get lost into the physical, things get worse on your side of view. That's why you gotta learn how to detach from certain circumstances and situations. Feel me? You can also have soul ties with your kids too. Feel me? Y'all could you could have killed your child in your previous life, but they wasn't your child necessarily. They could have been an enemy or some shit. So to, it's also can play out to that point that when you do die, you basically can take another shape and form. And basically you dying with that on your mind as far as you killing that person. When you do get born into another birth in reality, that person, they're going to have deeply rooted natures fulfilled with you also. So basically, when that happens, that child can basically still haunt you and still can become your seed, whether it can be your worst nightmare or your highest level of advancement. So it goes real deep though. This is like when you get into mysticism and the cult, and when you actually travel that realm, you will actually find out things that you need to basically really tap into, and you won't get lost into this perspective of other people's ideas or going on Google and trying to figure shit out, because it don't even play like that. For me, you will get all your information within yourself, because basically once you get to the moment of basically trying to decipher and look at things online, you're not going to really get the best information needed. For me, this goes deep. This can play out with marriages, businesses, sex. You having intercourse with somebody, for me, and you had this person get deeply attached to you and shit, and you have soul ties. You try to move on, you try to go to another relationship, but the shit don't really happen because you still stuck onto this person mind. Like, feel me? It can become a karmatic situation and circumstance that basically bring you back here. Because when you die, all you was thinking about was this person and all these circumstances and situations that they put you through, and you wasn't spiritually strong enough to basically get out these circumstances and situation, and you wasn't spiritually strong enough, so you basically put your spirit and your soul into a tie. So now y'all tied up. So this will also go to you trying to basically help somebody in life and basically trying to get them on your level for bigger and better things. And the thing is, the moment you basically leave that pool open and you don't fix no circumstance situation, you don't detach from that shit, you don't basically get out of the loop, you're gonna keep tying the knot. For me, like, you're gonna keep basically tying and tying. Like, you don't want to have soul ties. For me, once you get basically deeply rooted into somebody like this close, that's why spirits, we all need space. We all gotta detach. For me, this shit don't look right when it's together. For me, but when you spread them out, things that basically start to clear up. And that's the whole purpose of basically detaching from soul ties and shit like that. Because it goes real deep, though. And to the point to this person is on your mind, you thinking about them, you dreaming about them and shit. Because you know you don't have imagination. You lack that too. You gave your imagination to that person. You gave your imagination to their soul. Now your creativity, your beliefs, and everything is stuck there. And it's fucking up with your life. And it's putting you in circumstances, situations that you get deeply rooted. So I have a mental breakdowns and shit like that, to the point you might get into a car accident. You might die. You might have a catastrophic event because you don't know what kind of spirits this person is basically enticing on you, and basically they pushing that shit out on you. So basically, this is what you're breathing in, and this is what you're collecting. So basically, we about to get into how you can basically break from soul ties, because don't look at it like this. Just because a doctor or somebody says there's no cure for something, that don't mean there's no cure. I mean, there's a cure, feel me? But the moment you believe into somebody else's imagination, the moment you believe to them telling you, say, oh, there's no cure, that's when you have soul ties. To the point that when you die, you're gonna keep coming back here and having that guilt, and you're gonna have another shape and form of feeling emotion to remind you to these circumstances, situations that you can't get out of these circumstances, situations. To the point you just drain your spirit, till your spirit gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Feel me? And you don't want that shit. That's why it's very important to basically take care of these circumstances, wishes, and find out yourself and get to know thyself. So this way, when you do get it yourself in these predicaments and circumstances, situations, you will basically be able to break out of them so much easy. Never leave that pool open. For me, your pool gotta be clean. Your pool gotta be cleared. You don't know. You don't want to be bringing in certain other spiritual beings and other portals, and you want to basically get attacked by certain waves and shit. That's gonna keep you stagnated. So look, when you basically get into when you want to get out of soul ties, you have to be spiritually strong. You gotta have faith in yourself. Feel me? You gotta want to do this shit. You gotta have mental intent. You gotta have good feelings and emotions of intent of basically breaking out of this, and you gotta basically put your actions into play. Feel me? Because actions speak louder than words. So it's one thing you can think of it. It's one thing you can express it. It's one thing you can talk it. But you gotta basically put yourself in a circumstance situation, and make sure you draw up out of these predicaments. So every time you get into a circumstance situation, I already tell y'all about what you can do with the 360 word. The moment and circumstance and situation that you want to basically break out of this bondage, you got to have in your mind, I'm detaching from this circumstance situation. I'm getting out of this predicament. Spin to the left to rebel. Spin to the right to get righteousness. So basically, once this person see what you're doing, you already got on your mind. So basically, you detach from they loop that you detach, like being that they try to do that, you did your 360. You got up out of that. Turn around, you got left, you went right. For me, you basically, to the point you keep doing this and you keep practicing it, you keep doing some spiritual work, you basically get yourself out of that predicament. Feel me? And you do some affirmations, write down, I will break from this soul tie. I will break from this person, to the point you can just get a picture of them, like light that shit up, and basically detach from it. Feel me? Drag out and branch out all that feeling emotion. Because basically, remember, when you do this shit, this is you're gonna catch a reaction when you burn somebody's picture or burn something that's a reminder of them. You're gonna feel that internally, because it's basically you detach it from that person and you remove all negative feelings, emotions, to basically put your spirit into a higher spectrum. Now you're free. Now you can fly, and that's basically how you do it. Of course, I'm gonna make another video because I ain't fully going to it. But this is basically that's gonna help you and get y'all into the right state of being. And don't be scared, but be brave. And you can do this.